So it's our time with the group chairs here at the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre. And today we have Dr. Godwin Ayetor, the group chair for EVs and Sustainable Mobility Group. Good day.
Good day, madam.
Doc, and thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, just to start, can we get an overview of the EVs and Sustainable Mobility Group under the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre?
Okay, so the Electric Vehicle and Sustainable Mobility Group has a focus on sustainable mobility through technology. So the electric vehicle you see there is a technology stuff, and its primary aim is to reduce emissions, and also promote equality in the transport sector. Reduce emissions also means promoting low carbon fuels. So it's not just about electric vehicles. That's why we added the sustainable mobility, because electric vehicles also reduces vehicle emissions, but there are also alternative fuels, biofuels, biogas, etc. Also, the electric vehicles also include fuel cell electric vehicles. So the primary aim is also to conduct research to reduce emissions and also to influence policy towards sustainable mobility, which extends to infrastructure, energy. It's a very interdisciplinary group. Yes, because mobility is expanding to include energy. Yes, so energy also plays a role in sustainable mobility. Yeah.
Okay, but so far there's some projects that have been undertaken by the group or incoming projects.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Please tell us more.
So we helped the Energy Commission in their first electric vehicle baseline study of Ghana, where we had to do an assessment of the state of the transportation sector in Ghana. It was an interdisciplinary group, government agency group, and the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre was part of that group, where we did a research to find out the number of electric vehicles in Ghana, and also to conduct a nationwide survey on perceptions, myths, challenges. And that document was published. It was a 2022 document published in 2023. After that, we also helped the Energy Commission on a project to, I would say, on a standard regulation. Yes, charging station regulations, electric vehicle charging station regulations. So we won that bid, and as part of that bid, we had to develop regulations governing charging stations, the process to set up the charging stations, the procedures, the technical requirements of the charging stations, where they should receive approvals, which government agencies should be included. That document is at Parliament now due to the long process. We finished it last year, but it's in Parliament now. So any moment we'll be called to Parliament to help with that regulation. In addition, even before that regulation, we also helped Ghana Standard Authority on a project to develop electric vehicle standards and also charging station standards for vehicles coming into Ghana, and charging stations to be installed in Ghana. Also, we worked on another project, Energy Commission, Ghana Energy Commission, and UNDP. UNDP also wanted to conduct baseline study on charging stations in Ghana. So we also won that bid. So we did a baseline study on the charging station situation, went to all charging stations, did stakeholder consultations and their problems, and made recommendations to them and to government, and that was published last year.
Okay.
Then on the international stage, we worked with UNIDO in Sao Tome and Principe. They also needed, the project was on low carbon fuels,
Okay.
and also they needed advisory on how to transition to electric mobility. We work with an international partner called P Manifold in India.
Okay.
So we did a baseline study on their vehicle. They didn't have data even of their vehicles, so we had to do a national data study on their vehicles, prices, costs, did a survey, and to see how they can sustainably transition to low carbon fuels, etc. And also we've been engaged in other projects such as conferences. So recently we worked with Hubei University of Automotive Technology in China to organize the China-Africa Electric Vehicle Conference, which was held here. So our group organized the entire conference, where for the first time, we brought in charging station providers, electric vehicle providers to KNUST to exhibit and talk about the challenges of electric mobility. And that conference also had participants coming from all over Africa, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, all of the place. And we've done a number of publications, quite a number. I would say more than 20 publications in peer-reviewed journals on the e-mobility situation in Africa. And by virtue of our privilege working with the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre and also the Climate Compatible Growth, we have an international participation in our publications from South Africa, Rwanda, UK, elsewhere, to form a global audience. Yes, I think those are the ones I can remember for now.
It looks like a lot has been done when it comes to EV.
Yes.
Let's bring it to Ghana. What do you think is the current state of EVs in Ghana?
Okay, that's a difficult question. I would say EVs are still a niche area in Ghana now. It's not widely used. It is common among a certain group of people. So, for instance, the first group is people who can afford more than one car, are tending towards electric vehicles as a second car or a third car or a fourth car.
Okay.
Yes. Why first-time owners are not predisposed towards electric vehicles? Mostly because of range anxiety. Range anxiety. So when a Ghanaian buys a car, well, not unique to Ghanaians, but since it's a perspective, is when they buy a car, they want to be able to travel with the car everywhere without the fear of the car abandoning them on the road. So if the person has a fear that if I travel from Accra to Kumasi, I might not find a place to charge the car, then he or she might reconsider owning such a car.
Because there are not a lot of charging stations.
Yeah, there are not a lot of charging stations in Ghana. So for instance, from the Accra stretch to Kumasi, there's no charging station on the road. So if you don't have, your vehicle doesn't have that mileage to take you there, it's a problem. And even there are vehicles that have 400 kilometers on a single charge, can conveniently bring you here. But the situation with electric vehicles is that it depends on how you ride it. So you could lose that range easily if you are running at a high speeds. That range quickly goes down. And you find yourself always looking in at the dashboard. What kilometers is left? That's an anxiety. Yes. So it is, I think most Ghanaians agree that the fact that you don't have to buy fuel is a huge incentive to own an electric vehicle. We've come to that point now, and lack of, you don't have to do much maintenance. We've reached that point now, but the challenge is owning it, how to manage it. You want to travel everywhere with it, and lack of charging stations become an issue. So those who have it as a second or third car will use it when they are within the city or whatever. They don't have to travel far, they are happy with it. And then if they have to travel, then they take the internal combustion engine vehicle and travel. A typical example is when we organized the conference and the companies had to bring their electric vehicles here. There were at least 2 instances where the vehicles didn't reach here. Yes, and had to be towed. Yes, to be charged here. Perfectly highlights the situation. Many are also afraid of the situation of mechanics because it's a highly advanced technology and we don't have a widespread skills when it comes to maintaining it. Even if the company that sells is in Accra and promises that they will take care of your servicing needs, what if you are going to use it in Navrongo? Then you have an issue there. Are they going to travel all the way to Navrongo to solve it? So we don't have widespread skills set like the internal combustion engine vehicles. So it's a niche area where a certain group of people are using it. Companies also that have sustainability policies have also purchased them. GIZ, etc. have also purchased. UNDP purchased electric vehicles to be using. But there are still many challenges that has made it a niche area so far. But there seems to be hope for the future. Yeah.
But looking into the future, do you think local manufacturing is going to be possible of EVs in Ghana?
We have a long way to go.
Okay.
Yeah. My answer is based on the experience we've had with even the conventional vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles. That government had a policy, automotive development policy, to promote vehicle assembly in Ghana. When it comes to that sector, we have an assembly and then we have manufacturing. The manufacturing is when you have to make the components, not the car. You make some components of the vehicle. Then assembly is you buy all the components and put everything together. So government was hoping through that document that we do assembly, we promote an assembly of vehicles for some time, then we move on to component manufacturing, which is what actually brings in jobs. Yes. So the document went out, there were many incentives, tax-free. The only tax they paid was the ECOWAS levy. If you bring in a vehicle under the Ghana Automotive Development Policy, you have tax-free, etc. I think that was 2019, and we have not succeeded in the intentions of that, even with the internal combustion engine vehicles, because many challenges, market dynamics. Ghana is too small a market for 8 assembly plants. There are more about 7-8 assembly plants. Ghana is too small a market for them all to break even, which means they have to look outside Ghana. And we have not been successful in reaching agreement with neighboring countries on exporting vehicles. That was necessary before implementing this policy. So moving this problem to electric vehicle assembly or manufacturer is more of an inherited problem.
Okay.
Yes, and it's going to be a bit challenging. I'm aware electric two-wheelers are being assembled in a way, not in mass quantities. Electric motorcycles, electric bicycles are being assembled in Accra, but majority of the items, batteries, etc., are brought into the country. But there's a huge potential for component manufacturing because electric vehicles present a different technology, which is not dominated only by China. The rest of the world is also struggling with its manufacturing and assembly. So we have a chance to make up for the challenges we had with internal combustion engine vehicles. For example, importing the batteries is not easy, and it's better if the battery production is localized, because the battery forms about 40 to 60% of the price of the entire electric vehicle. So we have an opportunity. We have the minerals, we have the raw materials to do it. We need to develop the skills and the market. We need to make use of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to be able to penetrate into African market, because apparently it's easier now for an African country to sell to Europe than to sell to other African countries. So most of those challenges we have to overcome before we can be successful for assembly and manufacturing. Yeah.
So what are some of the environmental advantages, health advantages that the country can get out of it?
Okay, thank you very much. So the last time I checked the statistics, we also did a publication on this. About 40% of the total greenhouse emissions in Ghana is coming from transport, the transport section. And doing away with internal combustion engine vehicles is like reducing that number to about 5 or 10%. And so we will not have, not just about carbon dioxide, we don't have carbon dioxide, we don't have carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, oxides of nitrogen, all the other emissions that adversely affect health, reduces lifespan, aggravates heart diseases and all that. So a shift to electric vehicles or e-mobility is bound to reduce emissions and lengthen lifespan and reduce diseases substantially. That one is not in doubt. The other advantage, apart from emissions, is that we have the opportunity to redefine automotive manufacturing as we haven't been able to do with conventional vehicles. If you take the whole of Africa, our percentage of export is not even up to 3%. So with e-mobility, we have the opportunity to redefine the landscape with that. But in addition to the advantages, there are also challenges that must be overcome. Yeah. I don't know if you want me to talk about the challenges as well. Okay. So one more advantage, the petroleum sector is highly patronized by the automotive sector, which means we get to import. We don't refine much fuel in Ghana. About 95% of the fuel is imported into the country, which means it has a strain on our foreign exchange, and all the money goes from the petroleum revenue goes outside the country. So with a shift to e-mobility, we do away with all those challenges as well. The disadvantage which we are trying to overcome is that e-mobility will mean a shift to electricity. So the dependence on fuel will now be a dependence on electricity. And we already have a challenge of electricity supply and reliability in Ghana. I think earlier part of this year, there was a lot of issues. The fact that we owe a lot in the electricity sector, which has led to increase in fuel prices. Yes, even though fuel has nothing to do with it, the challenges are enormous. And a shift to e-mobility will more than multiply those problems by 100.
Okay.
Yes, because now every car will have to depend on electricity. And we are not yet ready for such a full-scale transition. It will affect the grid. Let me give you an example. We had a donation from Japan Motors through our group. The donation was a charging station, a 22 kilowatt charging station installed at the car park. Now, the capacity of the charging station is 22 kilowatts, but from the grid, we only get 8 kilowatts. Yeah, so it means even though we have an equipment that can utilize 22 kilowatt, the national grid does not give us even half of what we need. Yes, and that is a challenge all across the country. When during the conference, we needed to charge a vehicle at one of the locations at the conference, and we did not get the enough charge to be able to charge the vehicle. We have to keep moving around till we got the enough charge. So even the 220 volts, 200 to 220 volts, or 240 volts, that is the standard at all outlets in Ghana. We are not able to achieve that everywhere. So, which means that we have to do a lot on the infrastructure and siting of charging stations. And this is just 22 kilowatts. There are 150 kilowatts, 300 kilowatts charging stations. And this may strain the grid. And so we will need to do a preparation for that, which is also a focus of our group. Yeah.
So electricity issues must be fixed before?
It must be fixed.
Full-time?
Yes. Otherwise, forget the transition. So, for instance, we have national e-mobility policy by the Ministry of Transport, which they hope that by 2035, 35% of all vehicles in Ghana will be electric. By 2045, they want to ban the import of all vehicles except electric vehicles. If you look at that projection, we need to grow by over 2 gigawatts of energy every year.
Yes. You think it's attainable?
No, it's not. Unless something drastic is done, we cannot attain that. So that goal itself is a problem. Although we wish we could transition fully, I think government and also policymakers are wary that it will strain our grid, and so it's not good to promote electric vehicles all out. Yes, we understand that because of the data that we have. Yeah.
So finally, how can industry and academia work together, particularly with the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre, so that we push the e-mobility agenda?
Okay, so that's a very good question. We started on that. For example, we have developed a curriculum. We have a focus also on training because of the huge skills gap in electric vehicle maintenance and design. So we've started an artisan program. We call it Journeyman program, where we have a formalized system for training mechanics to become EV technicians. We started this last year because the EV landscape has also inherited some disadvantages in the skills market. Ghana doesn't have a formalized training for technicians, vehicle technicians in general. The training is informal. For example, in Kumasi, you take magazine, the training is informal, apprenticeship and all that. But the advancement of technology requires that we formalize these kind of trainings so that we get equal skills all over the country. So we started this last year in conjunction with Toyota Ghana and Solar Taxi and Smart Watt Company. So we started the first cohort. They came in with their equipment, collaborated with us to train mechanics for the future in stages. We also have an agreement with Climate Compatible Growth to do another training in October in Accra due to popular request. So industry can help us with their expertise. They can help us through donations. For example, the charging stations was donated by Japan Motors. So because they are with the equipment, they are with the vehicles, we are looking forward to a donation of electric vehicles to the universities as well. So they can help us with a component donation, vehicle donation, infrastructure donation, and support us through our training programs. We have also reached out to them in the drawing up of curricula as well. Some have also reached out to us to support thesis aligned to electric mobility. So we have about, for example, the group has about 30 postgraduate students working on e-mobility alone. And some companies, for example, Drive GH Ghana has promised to support the conversion of old cars to electric vehicles in future. So there is more that we can do together with industry. We cannot do this without them. For example, if we churn out a certificate, the certificate needs to have credibility. And if they are involved in the training, they will know the training that is given, and then it will be credible, and our graduates will be accepted elsewhere. Apart from all these, financial donations are also welcome.
Okay, that's very necessary.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Godwin Ayetor,
My pleasure,
for that wonderful interview. So that was Dr. Godwin Ayetor, the Group Chair for Electric Vehicles and Sustainable Mobility Group at the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre, and this has been our time with the Group Chairs here at the Brew-Hammond Energy Centre. Thank you all.